I'm Mort Cooper, your host on Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. It's early in the morning right now in the studio, and I'm talking basically down here. It's the morning voice, and I have a cold. If you have a cold, or you have bronchitis, or you have the flu, or pneumonia, any of these things tends to bring the voice down in the lower throat because your energy level is sapped. And when your energy level is sapped, you have a tendency to talk in the lower throat. Who killed our voices? That's the subtitle. We do it without the vaguest awareness of what we've done to ourselves and our voices. When our voice begins to fail, if you've heard Michael Eisner or the Secretary of the Treasury, Paulson, they have a raspy voice. If you listen to Paul Newman, you hear a raspy voice. The rasp is a cultural attribute, and people like it. They don't realize they're doing damage to their throat, the lower throat, and they begin to squeeze. You can wind up with very serious problems if you do that too long. Hopefully, when you have a cold or bronchitis or pneumonia or whatever else you might encounter, it passes. It's transitory. If you change your voice because of that, and you're not aware of what has happened, you begin to talk down here, the way I'm talking, instead of up in the face. If you are losing your voice, and you don't know why, and you've gone to your doctors, GP, you've gone to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, or doctors, and you've made the rounds and you can't get out of the lower throat voice like this, and it's beginning to hurt because it's just not holding up. I've come up with a new book called Curing Hopeless Voices. People wind up with hopeless voices, told it's hopeless, and they start talking down here. And then they begin to squeeze from the lower throat rather than up in the face where their voice was originally, before the bronchitis, before the flu, before pneumonia, before the cold. And they don't know what has happened. They'll go to the medical doctor, and right they should, and the medical doctor will explain to the voice that's failing that you have acid reflux. Acid reflux is big time in our society. Merck did a study. It sponsored the study in 1992, I believe it was. It's in the book Curing Hopeless Voices. And the book is free. You'll see at the end of the show, the book is free on my website, no charge. It's a fascinating book. It took a little while to write with a co-author, Dr. John Curtis. John was supposed to be here. He didn't get up. I had trouble getting up too, but I'm going to take you through the rounds of how you get out of the lower throat voice, and that's in a sense where I'm talking down here. The voice is built on a megaphone basis, from the top of your eyebrows down to the bottom of the lower throat. This whole thing is the throat, and it extends 6 to 9 inches long, just like a megaphone. The megaphone is narrow at the bottom and extends outward. As I mentioned, it's 6 to 9 inches, and it's broken up into 1/3 down in the lower throat, 1/3 around the mouth, and 1/3 around the nose. All good and great voices are placed up in the blend of oral and nasal resonance. It's called the mask. It comes from ancient Greek times when actors on stage actually spoke through a mask to imitate women, because women weren't allowed on stage. Good singing and good speaking are always up in the face. What happens is that unknowingly, when we have some deterrent, like a cold, the flu, bronchitis, or pneumonia. About 6 years ago, I had viral pneumonia. I was talking like this. I could hardly move. I lost 27 pounds in 1 month. Pneumonia can kill you. I lucked out and beat it. But my voice was all the way down here. And some of the people I knew thought it was very entertaining because the voice doctor didn't have any voice. Try losing 27 pounds in 1 month, and your voice will go down here. If you have bronchitis, you start coughing. And if you cough excessively and violently, you can irritate the vocal cords if you keep doing it. And you can wind up with a hemorrhage of the vocal cord, or you can wind up with an impaired voice. You can get a lot of things out of misusing the voice. You can get the strangled voice. If you've ever heard Robert Kennedy Jr., the environmental lawyer, he has a strangled voice. And he talks like that. If you've heard this voice, the strangled voice, is medically called spasmodic dysphonia. You won't forget it. If you are with the person and you're looking at them, not just listening to them on the phone, you wonder why they're making faces. They screw up the face, trying to get, it's like stuttering. They're trying to get the voice out. The stutterers are trying to get the words out, the speech out. They're both interrelated. They're both doing something wrong with the speech mechanism. The stutterers are placing their tongue behind the teeth, the upper teeth, and they're preforming. Preforming means that they're thinking ahead of the vowels, the consonants, the words, and so they preform the tongue before they say the sound of the word. That's impossible. That's like you're walking and thinking of each muscle in your leg as you walk, or additionally in your arm. It isn't going to turn out well for you. Stutterers simply misuse the mechanism and don't realize that's what they're doing. If you change the way they're using their speech pattern and help them with the breathing, wonders, you can cure the stuttering problem. Allergan, for a while, was of the view that you can really treat stuttering with Botox. They're well-intentioned, they're compassionate, but stuttering is not a neurological problem, although that's in dispute. I don't find it to be a dystonia, a neurological problem, a genetic problem, a disease, and so forth and so on. I find it to be simple misuse and wrong speech identity. They're thinking ahead of what they're going to say, and they're putting the tongue in place to say it. It's like you're walking down the street and you're thinking of each muscle in your leg and your arm, and as you walk, it is not going to work for you. Spasmodic dysphonia winds up with the same thing, the strangled voice. The eyes begin to spasm, the neck begins to spasm, back problems, back spasms. My medical colleagues and my colleagues in academia are of the view that the strangled voice spasmodic dysphonia is a neurological problem. It's based on rather thin evidence which doesn't turn out to really explain why you get the strangled voice. What is the strangled voice? Where does it come from? And why do you have a voice that doesn't speak for you? Join with me. Change your voice, change your life. Who killed our voices? We unknowingly do damage to our voices. After puberty, the voice changes markedly for the young girl to the woman, for the young boy to the man, from the child to the adult, from adolescence to the adult. A number of us don't know how to use what nature has given us, a new voice. So we may pick a voice off the wall that really doesn't speak well for us because we don't know which voice is our voice. I may talk up here, and we have a post-puberty voice problem. Or we talk all the way down here. Or we talk in the lower throat. It's a post-puberty voice problem. By that I mean after puberty, your voice goes haywire. Or you pick up the wrong voice from your family because they have no training and direction in voice, and neither do you. So by osmosis, you either sound like your father, who has no training. It's not a negative. He's just not into voice. Or your mother, and she's not into voice. If you luck out, you imitate somebody who has a good voice, and you're what is called a natural. You have a very, very melodic voice. But the chances of having a melodic voice are very minimum, because most of us have developed our voice the same way we have developed our voice. It's like throwing a dart at a wall with no target. We don't know where to place the dart or what the target is. The target is basically to talk up in the face. If you just hum the first bar of Happy Birthday, just hum it, you'll feel a buzz. Just hum naturally the first bar of Happy Birthday. And that buzz is where you should be talking on. Is a carryover. I developed these techniques, the technique, so you can carry over your voice, the right voice, when it isn't right, when you've had the flu, bronchitis, very serious cough, your voice is gone. If you go back to basics, and just say, naturally, spontaneously, and sincerely. Don't push it. You'll feel a buzz in your face. The saving grace of all good and great voices is talking and singing in the face. If you listen to people who have very enchanting voices, you will hear a buzz in their voice. It has a ring to it. And when you do what I'm suggesting, you will feel a tingle if you haven't been talking up in the face, if you've been talking all the way down here after you've had the cough, the flu, bronchitis, and any one of these very difficult problems, you begin to talk down here. And after the flu is gone, after the bronchitis is gone, after the pneumonia is gone, if you've survived it, you have a voice that is not the voice you once had. You begin to squeeze because you're talking down here in the lower throat. The lower throat has natural resonance. It's called laryngeal resonance down here. And laryngeal resonance is what everybody has. You can't avoid it. It's around the larynx, and it's a very natural sound. But if you use too much of the laryngeal resonance, you begin to squeeze. You want to go up to the face, or if you hum the first bar of Happy Birthday, you'll feel a buzz up in your face, a tingle in your mouth. You'll feel your teeth possibly showing an effect, a response. That's a good sign. After you use that voice up in the face for a while, it becomes very natural and normal. It's called adaptation. So you don't even realize the buzz is there and the tingle is there. It disappears. As I'm talking to you, it's a natural sound talking up at this